Stephen Leach of SWE is driven by a desire to create a sustainable production environment throughout Marlborough and further afield. The smart audit system they developed won the Business Innovation Award at the 2017 Cawthron Marlborough Environment Awards, and the company was itself recently certified Carbon Zero.
We've been going something like 11 years now. Primarily it started just in irrigation, but now it's tended to spread out a bit more. But we've been growing and evolving over that time, and now we'd have 18 staff here. We take basically from the beginning of a project right through to the end. So you give me a bare piece of land and I will give you a watering system for a vineyard. That means that we do the project management of the entire project. We do all the engineering side of it. We fabricate a lot of it here ourselves. We install it, we commission it, and then we actually maintain it afterwards. So I think the difference is that we actually encompass the whole project from the beginning right to the end, and then continuous after that in terms of maintaining it on a yearly basis. We decided probably 5-6 years ago with our smart audit was that we needed to start to conserve the amount of water that's being used. Now Marlborough has 26,000 hectares of vineyard in it at the moment, and we know that the pressure of water is actually becoming greater, as in the scarcity of water. So we set up a system that would not only look at the conserving water, but also conserving the actual power usage. What we're trying to do is get that water used most efficiently as possible in the most uniform fashion with the least amount of cost. We've got systems that are now, some of them are up to 20 to 25 years old, and evolution has occurred in terms of how drippers have evolved, etc. And so most corporates and large growers are aware that their systems aren't as efficient as they used to be. Right now we're out in the Awatere and it's blowing a lovely gale. This vineyard itself has been here since 2003. This particular place, we went through and we tested all the corners again, and we tested all the valves, and we went right back into the pumping into the infrastructure here. What we wanted to do is to get the efficiency up. So part of that was actually linking all the systems together, and we linked this booster station down to the pumping station at the river, and also links to a dam, and it links to another dam. So essentially we've got the whole system now. You can go onto your phone or into the interface itself and see what your pumps are doing, and you can see what the water's actually been distributed at to make sure we're getting the best we can out of every drop.
The old system seems to be running pretty good at the moment, changing some of the pressures around and adjusting some of these set points into here.
Very good.
We've actually been doing this now for the last probably 3 or 4, 5 years now. Some of those savings we've seen up to 20% saving in water alone. Sometimes if you go in and you rejig the efficiency of the pumps, you could get somewhere between even a 30 and a 40% increase in your reduction, I guess, in your use of power. When these first systems went in, they used to have a dripper with a piece of whisker in it. They used to call it whisker. They'd punch a hole, and the length of the whisker determined how much water actually came out. They got a bit more clever after that, and then we had a lot of button drippers in. And so button drippers were the rage 20, 25 years ago. And over time, they've got smarter and smarter. So eventually they managed to get the dripper inside the actual tube itself. And then ultimately, we've got it down to quite a small little dripper. So what that does is it means that obviously the drip line gets cheaper as we manufacture it and put it inside the tube, and we get better efficiency in actually delivering that water. So if we keep coming back to the efficiency drive, we want to make sure every time we put on our irrigation, we put on the same amount of water every time we turn it on, and we want to make sure that gets distributed properly. What's happened over time is we've pulled the dripper spacing in closer together, so we get this lovely big wetted sausage of water up and down the vineyard line. So all the time you're working through how old is the system. These obviously block up over time. You're putting water through which picks up sediment and it blocks the dripper. So we test for that. So we're looking for efficiency in terms of distribution. So we go from the drip line right through to the pumping end of the system. Our whole business is based around making sure we have a sustainable footprint. And this meshes in so well with the whole philosophy we actually have in that. The wine industry is also based around the whole sustainability and good use of the environment. So if we can prove that we can get the best out of our water use It has to be a winner for us and for the client. In terms of an investment point of view for what it's going to cost to do an audit, this particular vineyard is sitting in that 40 to 60 hectares, and the cost of that was in the range of about $6,000. So it's not a vast amount of money for the payback we're getting from that. I could introduce you to a lot of clients that would say it's paid for itself over and over again. If you keep going back to the analogy of a tractor, if you don't service that tractor, it's going to eventually break down and let you down. And by keeping our systems as efficient as possible, it means every year we're getting the same amount of water going on, we're getting the same productivity out of it. The challenges will be just the fact that the climate is changing and we need to have systems that are robust and resilient. I don't think we're going to ever get to the point where we've got everything working at 100% efficiency. So I think there's always going to be a need to improve things and to become more efficient with them. So I don't believe we're going to run out of work. Yeah.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.